Good evening and welcome. Do we have a treat in store for you? I'm so delighted that you're here to join us. I'm sure you've had to pull yourself away from your busy life. Hopefully, you've got the kids fed, maybe in front of the telly. Hopefully, you've walked your dog, unlike me, because my dog is still desperate for his little walk this evening. But I am Amy Copeland, and I'm the CEO of ICB. And I am delighted to tell you that we are the UK's only dedicated professional body for bookkeepers and payroll professionals. It's something that is really important to us. And we know that professionals like bookkeepers and payroll agents really do keep the economy ticking along. And there has never been a better time to join the profession. And to tell us more about it is a wonderful ICB member, Anne-Marie Vernej. Good evening, Anne-Marie. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, Amy. I'm fine, thank you.
I am so pleased you're here. And we've also got the amazing team from Ideal Schools here, Brian and Elaine, and they are going to be on hand answering your burning questions. They are one of our major training providers here at ICB. We've been working with them for decades, and they are absolutely fantastic at helping support students in gaining their ICB qualifications. Anne-Marie, did you train with Ideal Schools?
Yes, I did. And I enjoyed every minute of it.
Did you really? Fantastic.
Did.
Wow. Now, if you're sitting there at home and you're thinking, surely I'm the only person in the world who at this point in my life has decided to become a bookkeeper or do payroll or change career, let me tell you, you are absolutely not alone. We've got loads of you online right now. And I would love to know in the chat where you are, where you come from. Whereabouts in the world are you? Luckily, Brian and Elaine have kicked us off to say hi in the chat. But Brian and Elaine are absolute experts in bookkeeping courses. And of course, we've got Anne-Marie who has been there, done that. So hopefully by the end of today's webinar, you will be feeling a little bit more confident about whether it's the right route for you. But at ICB, we've got about 15,000 students and members in the UK. And let me tell you that the majority of them are actually women, 78% women. We love men here at ICB as well. So we want more men if you're a man. But we also have a lot of older people, I would say, turning to bookkeeping as a second career. So this is a really common scenario. And let's find out a little bit about you, Anne-Marie. At what point in your life did you decide, right, I'm going to take a course in bookkeeping and take some more qualifications?
Yeah, so I've been an accounts assistant on and off for over 20 years, 20 plus years. And it was recent, last 5, 6 years, I decided I wanted to have my own practice. Um, it it was due to the fact that my health had changed. I have a health condition, fibromyalgia, and it 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 meant that I couldn't work full time, and I didn't want to lose my purpose in life. I didn't want to lose my love for work, for accounting, and I decided to have my own practice, to work from home, um, and be a bookkeeper. And that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And it took me about 3 years, 3.5 years to accomplish all the qualifications necessary.
That is not bad. And during some of that time you were working, you still had your old job.
Yeah, for the first 2 levels, I was working full time up until the point where my body and my mind said I can no longer work full time. And so I gave it up and I decided to concentrate on my studies alone. Once I just concentrated on my studies, got through them all, and then once I qualified, I launched into producing my business.
Wow. Okay. Wonderful. And, shout out to anybody out there who's got a long-term health condition. We have, it's something we hear time and time again at ICB that there's quite often so many challenges that can get in the way of your full-time work or your life takes a path that you weren't expecting. And one of the things we're really focused on here at ICB is making sure that our exams are as accessible as possible. So unlike other awarding bodies, we actually make it possible to take all of your ICB exams from home or from your office if your employer wants you to sit there in the office and do them. But you can take all of our exams online at any time of the night and day. And because of that, we are finding that people from all walks of life are gaining that achievement that they so want. And I think when you make exams reflect real life, like we do, you're basically saying that people don't have to make that decision between their life, their health, and their ambitions. So it's wonderful to hear that you have used your bookkeeping qualifications to give yourself that freedom. And what's it like running a business?
I do have a sense of freedom. It's the best thing in the world. I've always wanted my own business, and I'm glad I've reached it. I've achieved it. Running my business gives me it gives me control over when I want to work. It
Mm.
gives me the ability to you have to excuse me. I have to say beforehand, I have traits of dyslexia, so words come into my mind, my head, and um, they can easily slip as well. So I chase my words in my head. So I'm able to take my time to choose my clients, to work when I want to, not feel so guilty in taking time off for holiday, whether it's to just relax or to take time and to go to medical appointments, etc. Um, Working for myself is a great achievement for me. Um, I don't think there's anything better in the world, to be honest, than to work for yourself. Um, and
Wow.
I take great pride in being able to help others um, keep their businesses ticking over and being
Well, lovely.
compliant.
So, so obviously you've got that freedom. That sounds amazing. It's the best thing in the world. But what about the work itself? So you get to help other people, but is it
Mm-hmm.
quite, I imagine that there are some people out there. You haven't said hi in the chat though, so do tell us who you are. Oh, Hannah, there you are. If is I imagine people are sitting there and thinking, well, bookkeeping, maybe it's a bit too boring for me. Is it all about maths and numbers and things like that? What's your
Right.
experience of the actual work as a bookkeeper?
Right. You don't have to be a mathematician because I know I'm not a mathematician, but it's a lot. The fundamentals of bookkeeping is the same, but there is variety in it. It all depends on who you're working with, what the structures, different structures of businesses, the different industries. They all run their businesses differently, but the fundamentals of bookkeeping is the same. It's methodical. They're
Mm.
right, methodical. Um, but how you go about doing those processes, it varies, and it goes according to the needs um, of that business.
And where did you start to find clients? Do you think it's something that's easy? Do you have to be really confident to do that?
Well, definitely be yourself, because I've always been myself. I've never pretended to be otherwise. From the time I was studying, I told people that I'm actually studying to be a bookkeeper. And each level each exam I passed and each level I achieved, I let my family, my friends know, even my colleagues know that, yes, um, I've reached that goal. So everyone knew that my goal was to be a bookkeeper and my plan was to have my own business. Um, so in doing that, that was kind of a way of networking, advertising
Mm.
by mouth. Um, and so my clients currently are, relatives, my siblings, partner, and associates, beauticians, my beautician.
Wow, so that really is quite varied, isn't it? I
Yeah.
love that because I think one of the most difficult things you can do is set out on this path alone. So getting your people around you and telling them what you're doing it that intentionally, setting this kind of goal for yourself and, manifesting it like that just seems so powerful. And certainly if you are thinking about doing this by yourself, really do consider leaning on the people that surround you. And whether it's your partner, your friends, people, neighbors, it's really important you start to tell people that this is your goal here. But also, as soon as you're part of ICB, you will have access to an amazing community of people that are in the same boat as you. So we're registering, over 100 students every month. And like I say, a lot of them will have come from a similar background from you, I'm sure. They may, like Anne-Marie, have an accounting job already, but so often we have students that have never done anything like this before, and they're just committed to getting that professional qualification behind them. And one of the things I think is sort of unique about something like bookkeeping, it's a profession that you can actually achieve while studying from home, especially if you have the fantastic support of a really good training provider behind you. But it's not like doing a random course on YouTube. There's a set route into the profession, and at the end of your exams, you can become a certified bookkeeper. And does it make a difference, do you think, to have that certified bookkeeper credential behind your name? Does it help when you're speaking to people about what you do?
It really does. And even though I was in accounts, I didn't realize what bookkeeping was until, obviously 20, 15, 20 years later, that the part of accounting that I was actually doing, that I loved doing, was called bookkeeping. It's so weird. I've been doing it for so long that I didn't even know what it was called. So to be a bookkeeper in itself is a profession. Um, and when you're working in the industry or in practice, you don't necessarily always have all the knowledge that it takes to be a bookkeeper. So it's really important that you do actually achieve the qualifications, because there's so much to learn. And also, when you do it, you realize that if you have been, like myself, working in accounts, things come together and everything makes sense a lot more, if that
That's
makes sense.
fantastic to hear that. That even somebody like you, Anne-Marie, who's been doing this as a career for most of your life, still you can get this greater level of understanding when you sit down and you do a really good course. And just to say, shout out to Ideal Schools and thank you for being there because Jana is saying I'm studying with Ideal Schools and my tutor is excellent. And just so you know, Anne-Marie, because you probably are not reading the chat, but everyone is just saying how inspiring you are. We've got Sarita, who's also suffering from a health condition. She feels like she's being held back by it. So it's amazing you're being so honest with us and sharing your story. Did you do anything else to kind of help you through your course? How was it kind of dealing, speaking to your tutor while you were studying, Emery?
Speaking with Ideal Schools, beg your pardon, was really easy. Um, Especially Brian. Brian knows me very well. Every I called often, and I was never turned away. I was never told off for asking too many questions. Nothing was too difficult for them to handle. Um, so I even at times when there were times when I was overwhelmed, especially my health condition. I become fatigued, or I had a flare up where I just needed to uh, take a break. And funny enough, my body kind of worked strangely. So anytime there was a school holiday, my brain and body would just shut down. Um, so
Hmm.
Ideal School was very accommodating in that way, and really encouraged me to relax when I had to relax, take a break, because actually the brain does need a break. We can't keep on going, no matter whether it's studying, whether it's work, whatever it is, whether it's housework. We still need to have that break, that respite, that relief, so that we can bring ourselves back together and get back in the zone. So yeah, Ideal Schools was awesome. I am glad that I chose them. I didn't know about them before, to be honest. When I was looking to become a bookkeeper, all I did was Google, and I just compared what I found on the internet, and something just said, yeah, that's it. Put my finger on the map, so to speak, and yeah, that was it.
So
And I
you've got a
gave
good vibe from them. Well,
yeah.
IDOS is one of ICB's accredited training providers. So we're a professional body and we run the exams, but we don't do the training. And we certainly do give you guidance and support, and CPD, a little acronym there, continuing professional development, is something that we offer to our members once you're qualified. But if you're new to bookkeeping, or even if you're coming across to us from perhaps a career in accounting or even qualifications through another body, you may well decide that you want to do a little refresher course. And Ideal Schools does have a sort of bridging course if you've got prior experience or qualifications, so that you can gain exemptions from some of our exams and skip some of them, and just learn the bits of our syllabus that you need to know. Because, kind of like Anne-Marie has just touched upon, bookkeeping is the very foundation that all accounting is based on. And if you want to become a chartered accountant, you're going to be studying for many years. You might have to remortgage your house. And there are all sorts of very long exams in a very broad range of subjects that you need to pass in order to become a chartered accountant, quite rightly so. But to become a certified bookkeeper, we focus on practical bookkeeping, and it really is the bread and butter of accounting. So it's all about working at a transactional level to make sure that the data about the accounts is flowing in and out of the business. But what you can do when that data is really accurate and it's kept up to date in real time is provide incredibly useful information to business owners. So bookkeeping, actually, yes, it's the sort of start of the process, but actually it's there all year round. And a lot of more traditional accountants will kind of swoop in at the end of the year and provide an end of year tax return kind of service. And if you're a bookkeeper, you can actually offer that as well. And bookkeeping provides you with that basis on which you can add further services. So at ICB, we've got 4 levels. I say 4 levels. We've got a level 2, a level 3, and a level 4 qualification. We actually missed out level 1. You don't need it. But our level 2 and 3 covers the majority of the bookkeeping work. And you're going to be able to work with a range of different businesses. So you can be employed in those businesses, or you could be employed in a firm of accountants and work for a range of clients. Or in fact, you could do what Anne-Marie did, which is set up your own business as well. And once you've passed your level 2 and 3 qualifications, you can join us as a full member and become a certified bookkeeper and actually start your practice straight away. And the reason we enable you to do that is because the qualification is so practical that you know exactly what you need in order to run your business. And also, of course, after you've qualified, you then have access to the amazing community of people who will help you and support you. So quite often, you may well come across a client who calls you up and says, right, like Anne-Marie's client, I'm running a salon and I've got loads of, kind of stock, and I've got loads of clients, and I just need a great bookkeeper. And you might think, well, I really like this client, but I've never really dealt with salons, or I don't know anything about the kind of beauty industry. And that's when you can lean on your community, pop it in your group WhatsApp that you'll have, speak to your local branch, or just pop it in our online forum. And in fact, Ideal Schools has their own forum as well for students, Student Street. And you can really just ask the community for help. And the amazing thing about bookkeepers is that they're so helpful and so friendly. And because there's so much business out there, because every business in the world needs their books done, there just isn't much competition, is there, Anne-Marie? I don't know how much contact you've had with your fellow members. Do you make use of the community, would you say?
Yes, I do, and I'm part of one of the ICB branches, London, the London one, um, and I've met I actually I met with one account. Well, she's a bookkeeper, but she's an accountant, so she's level 4. Um,
Mm.
so I work with her. There are two actually, but one's IAB, so one's ICB, and I met her at a London branch meeting. And the other one I met through networking. Um, they're both local, and they're both level 4 bookkeepers. So yeah,
Fantastic.
I do meet them, um, and I
So
do
you've
make
mentioned the level
connections.
4. I was just thinking we should touch on the level 4. So once you've done your level 2 and 3, you've got your firm basis for running your practice. And a lot of bookkeepers, the majority will stop there. Then you've got a
Mhm.
couple of additionals. You can do a payroll qualification. And in fact, the payroll actually serves as a standalone. So if you decide that you're more into payroll, you want to get workers paid, and that's where your favorite place to be is, you can do payroll by itself and get a great job, or run your own business just doing payroll if you want, or you can add it onto your bookkeeping qualifications. And then also, if you're feeling very ambitious, you can move up to level 4. What are your feelings about level 4? What does level 4 cover, Anne-Marie, and is it for you?
Ooh, I really thought it was. I got into this business. I said, "Yeah, um, I'm gonna do it all." And then through building up my business, that's when I realized that I was actually dyslexic. I'm one of those people that are not diagnosed dyslexic but have all the traits. And it was very difficult, especially when I was doing my website, which I don't have at the moment because I'm transferring provider. But
Mm.
it it had to look a certain way, and certain things buzzed and made my eyes roll and all sorts. So I realized, somebody said you're neurodivergent. I said, what's that? So
Mm.
that's when I realized I was dyslexic. And so for a long time, I paid for level 4, and I started learning it, but I got to the point where I was I would open the book and I would read a couple of lines, and then I realized time would go by and I haven't passed the page or even the paragraph. And it went on like that for months. And I thought, and things weren't absorbing. And I thought, oh, this is not good. This is not good. So I did give a couple of calls, and I took idle schools, and they did give some help. I got those colored papers that you put colored, I
Yeah,
don't know,
those sheets. Like,
colored sheets that help. And they did help for a while, but I still wasn't absorbing. And I said, oh, this is so stressful. And I thought, have I actually, this is not, I'm not enjoying this. So I
mm,
thought, well, really, I had to grapple with myself. Have I actually reached my limit? Because I'm enjoying bookkeeping, but I'm not enjoying the level 4. I can I don't mind understanding bits and pieces of it, but putting it all together was so difficult for me, my brains to grapple with. And I've decided, actually, even though I paid for the course, it hasn't been a waste, but
mm,
it's not for me. I'll leave it
yeah.
for those that really want to do it and can do
Absolutely. And really most bookkeepers don't touch tax. So at level 4, we've got self-assessment tax, corporation tax, drafting financial statements, so that's filing accounts with Companies House, and then we've got business insight as well, which is a really fun one that's all about providing more insights to your clients and saying things like, well, if you want to buy I don't know, some sort of manicuring kit for your salon, and how you figure out if you can afford that in the future and how you kind of forecast that kind of thing. So really sort of interesting, complex stuff that you can do if you've got that firm basis in bookkeeping, because otherwise you're not going to have the data or the skills. But it's not for everybody. And when it gets to level 4, you actually have the option of just picking and choosing which of those modules you want to do. You don't have to do it all. And sometimes with other exam boards, they do require you to do your whole level 4. And
it.
it's a big commitment. It's going to cost you money, probably. And sometimes people really do feel that there's specialisms there that they love and some that they don't like. So I love that Anne-Marie decided it's not for you, so you didn't need to do it. And what about your clients? What do they sort of ask for you? Do you always get sort of same old questions? Are they quite easy to work with?
My clients are super easy to work with. They're very compliant.
I see. So you're just very good at managing them, is what you mean.
Yes, I am. I'm very organized. I'm very efficient. And honestly, I haven't had a problem with any of them. You know, I might ask for, say, a request for, uh, June invoices, and they might send me, uh, May's. So, it might have a little misunderstanding, and then I think, oh goodness, I'll have to process these and then ask for those, and because I've only got the bank statements for this month, and they might confuse me a little. So, um, in the documents that they send, but other than that, they're pretty well behaved.
And what kind of businesses are they? They kind of sole traders or limited companies?
They're all sole traders. My preference is a sole trader because I'm a sole trader and I can relate. And they're the simplest accounts. So that I love doing sole trade, working with sole traders. So I have a construction subcontractor. Yeah,
Mm.
subcontractor. I have an engineer and I have a beautician. Um, I'm in the process of onboarding a cafe bakery.
Oh, nice.
So that's,
You have to have lots of
yes, fingers
meetings at
crossed.
the premises.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that. And so Shirley Cifuentes has just said, what's the benefit of doing a level four and where can I find some good networking events? I think really, I need to, I need to sneeze, excuse me. So the level four, what those are, the sort of, we call them the statutory services, the things where you are submitting things on behalf of your client to the government, effectively to HMRC and Companies House. What that means is you can charge for those services because it's something that if businesses don't do, if they're not compliant with that, they will get penalties. So quite often you may find that clients come to you and say, oh, I've got to get my tax done at the end of the year, and they've left it to the last minute. And sometimes you will find a certain sort of sector of the business world, all they know is they've got to do their tax return at the end of the year. They probably don't know necessarily that if they're a limited company, they've also got to file with Companies House. So if you're finding that people approaching you are consistently asking you to do their tax and their accounts, it's maybe something that you might want to consider. It's always another string to the bow. You may decide that you want to be that one-stop shop for your clients. What tends to actually happen is that we've got bookkeepers who have got very confident in their service offering. They've got lots of clients that they're happy with, and the clients love them so much that they say, oh, could you please just do my tax return as well? Because I trust you. I understand what you're talking about and I want you to do it. There's a huge benefit to having a bookkeeper and an accountant. So a bookkeeper for the day-to-day work and an accountant for the year end. But quite often I hear from our members that their clients get on the phone to them as soon as they've spoken to their accountant and say, you need to translate what the accountant said because it's all in kind of gobbledygook as far as I'm concerned. And particularly if you're somebody who's maybe turning to this line of work because, like Anne-Marie, you've got a health condition, perhaps you've got neurodivergence, you will probably find that you connect with other business owners that are turning to self-employment for the right reason, for the same reason rather. And you may find that you are dealing with, you might have clients that, like Anne-Marie, struggle with dyslexia. They perhaps even, I don't know if you found this, Anne-Marie, do you have any clients who just kind of just go blank when it comes to their accounts and they just freeze up?
Yes, well, my partner's a dinosaur, so he when it comes to technology, he knows nothing. I've just brought him online bank-wise, brought him into the 21st century a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, and my other two clients, I do everything for them. They know nothing about how to go about doing their accounts whatsoever. They have an
Brilliant.
idea. I do educate them, so they know what I'm doing. I educate my clients as I go along, but for them to do it, they won't touch it with a barge pole.
Mm. And I think sometimes bookkeepers can underestimate the value of what they offer because you think, oh, well, I've just, I've come from this is my background. I've just done this course. And what does it really mean? But actually to businesses, it means the world. And if you're that person that is keeping them organized and keeping them accountable, that is absolutely invaluable, particularly for people who perhaps hate the sight of an Excel spreadsheet, can't deal with numbers, clam up when it comes to the idea of getting a penalty or doing a tax return, and certainly do sometimes find it difficult to work with highly qualified accountants who talk in a lot of accounting jargon. And really, the special thing that bookkeepers do is connect with business owners. And it doesn't matter whether you're employed in a role or you're running your own business, it's that connection and being able to turn the numbers into a story that actually makes sense to the business owner, which means that you will be trusted with everything. It's probably not even just, the login to the bank. It's, you know everything about the kids and the family and the sort of the hopes and dreams of these businesses you work with. So you may well find that once you've set up your business, your clients are desperate for you to do the full scope of the job and do their tax return and everything else in between. But one of the amazing things about our profession right now is a little something called making tax digital. And it really just means the processing of tax digitally. So all businesses are the plan is for all businesses to be doing all of their tax, interacting with HMRC through their software. And it started off with VAT, so businesses who are above the VAT threshold and are VAT registered, which is around 85,000 a year. They are now submitting all of that VAT returns through their software. And that's pieces of software, like we've mentioned already in the chat, like Xero. Is it 80? Is 90,000? There you go, Brian. I thought I was being a bit old hat with my 85,000. Thank you in the chat. But pieces of software like Xero or Sage, both of which you can study to use through Ideal Schools. But this software is now a legal requirement if you want to be doing your VAT returns. But also come 2026, next year in April, there are nearly 1 million sole traders who now have to supply their tax returns digitally, but more importantly, they actually have to prove that they're using their bookkeeping software throughout the year. And for the very first time in history, they are going to have to submit quarterly updates to HMRC to prove that they are using proper bookkeeping software. This is a huge, huge change. Do you think this is going to affect you, Anne-Marie, because you deal with sole trader clients?
Not at all. From day one, since MTD was mentioned, I have been mentioning it to my clients. I only have one client that's a yearly. I actually bought him, started him on a. I told him that he's got one more year, and then he'll have to go on a monthly. So all of them understand, all of them agree, and they're all on software apart from one. Yeah.
Fantastic. So actually, I think for bookkeepers who have been trained the ICB way, the Ideal Schools way, it's really common for bookkeepers to already be providing a very consistent monthly service to their clients. So it's not going to make a huge deal to existing bookkeepers who are running a great business, but I think it is going to make a big difference to these sole traders who are going to see this big change. And actually, a lot of these sole traders are not VAT registered. So they're just underneath that threshold. They might be startup businesses as well. They could be growing very quickly, but at the moment they're under that 90,000 threshold. And for them, this is really going to make a big change. And some of them may not be using accounting software at all. And that is where the bookkeepers come in. And there is just huge demand at the moment for great bookkeepers who can help small businesses transition to using software, understand what they're doing, and keep their figures accurate. And of course, the overarching benefit, as far as HMRC is telling us, is more accurate data means better accounts and businesses who understand how their business is doing. And of course, then are able to understand what their tax obligations are before year end, before it's too late. And it really is just such a wonderful thing for bookkeepers who absolutely understand the value of having that data on a regular basis. So Make no mistake, we talk about it all the time at ICB, but it really is something that makes bookkeeping on a level with that tax return at the end of the year. So while I'm saying a lot of businesses now recognize they have to do that legally in order to not get penalized by HMRC, that is now shifting to bookkeeping. So bookkeeping is going to be mandatory for all businesses eventually, starting off with sole traders at the start of next year. And every single year, so in April 2026, I think it's 780,000 sole traders, which is sole traders whose income is over 50K. And that threshold drops over the next 3 years. So those cohorts actually get bigger and bigger. So you've got another million sole traders affected the year later, another million sole traders affected the year after that. So staggering amounts of opportunity and business available for bookkeepers. But let's find out a bit more about Anne-Marie. So can you talk us through a standard day as a bookkeeper?
Ah,
Or
okay.
maybe
Okay.
there isn't a standard day. Maybe that's
There
the,
isn't.
the amazing thing.
Every day is a little different. Um, but religiously, I go through all my emails first, get rid of all the junk, and then I read through emails that are from ICB, non-work related, ICB staff or Sage or whatever it may be that may come through that is actually work related but not client related. And then look to find, I'll remind myself where I was with my clients email wise. I'd open my QuickBooks and find out where I'm at from there. I always request documents. That's the number one thing. We're always requesting documents, whether it's bank statements, invoices, or receipts, to process. And then if we're at a point to reconcile those, I'd reconcile them. And it's just a continual process. I'm always in contact with my clients. So I'm remote. I'm a remote business. I have met my clients. I do talk to them on the phone. I text them as well, but mostly email. And that's basically it, I think.
And that's in a nutshell. I love to hear that you can run
Nutshell.
this remotely. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
And still have regular contact with them as well.
all the
And,
time.
and and what does the future hold for you, would you say? Are you happy with how it is at the moment, the kind of clients you have? We're not going to do level 4 in tax.
Yeah,
You've met another ICB bookkeeper that can handle that for you, which is
yeah.
fantastic. So kind of what's next? Are you thinking you might grow it or keep it the
I
same, cut it
no,
down a bit, maybe?
yeah, no, I do plan to grow my business slowly but surely. I'm really happy with how it's grown. Um, from the day I got my license to the day I got my first client, it was about 7 months. So, and I'm just over, I'm a year and a month
Mhm.
into having my practice. So I'm really happy how I've been growing. I'm glad it's not shot up with clients because it does take time to onboard, to get to know a client, to converse with that client, to um, come up with a proposal, to
Mhm.
especially at the beginning, you've got nothing in place, and so at the beginning, as you go along, you put these templates in place: a proposal letter, your engagement letter, etc., etc., and then all your emails. You want to make them templates, otherwise you'll be typing them up all the time. So everything is a template. I did administration years ago, so
Ah,
I'm
that's
super.
very strategic. I love that. And also, if you are ever thinking of growing the practice in terms of staff or having a subcontractor, that's going to be so useful.
Yeah, I may do actually in terms of growing. I myself and the ICB bookkeeper who does my self-assessments, we do plan to come together Whether it's a partnership or not, we don't know. We at the moment we have our own businesses and we work together as partners, but we have our separate businesses legally.
Mm.
But we do plan to come together under one roof once we get a certain amount of clients between us, and we'll go from there.
Wow. How does it feel to have somebody like that then in your kind of professional life that you've literally never met before you went to a branch meeting?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so funny because when we sat there, I arrived. I saw her sitting in a corner. I looked around the room and I saw her and I thought, oh, let me go and sit beside her. And I sat down. I said, "Hi, I'm Anne Marie," and she said, "Hi, I'm Joyce." And then we just clicked. It was like we knew each other. And
Oh,
ever
that's
since, we've just
great.
it's almost like we've known each other for years and years and years. So it's really nice. Yeah, it's
Oh, that
good.
is so nice. And again, something that I hear time and time again. People really do find this whole new bunch of, they find their people here
Yeah,
at ICB. And,
yeah,
we really do have a lot of variety. All of our members are different and unique. And one of the things we always say at ICB is you do you. I mean, we didn't coin that phrase. I borrowed that off somebody else. But you can run a business or build the career of your dreams, and you can do that in any way you like. What we here at ICB are here to do is provide you with that structured pathway that will give you the skills that you need. And these are skills that you can take into any business, anywhere in the world. You might have to learn different sort of tax rules if you actually do want to emigrate somewhere lovely. We've got a member that started her business here. She's in Italy every summer because she just doesn't like the cold, and she runs her business remotely in a sunnier climate. So this is something that is super flexible. ICB is a global organization. We've got members in America, New Zealand, Australia, anywhere you might want to emigrate to, the Philippines, Eastern Europe, etc. So such a flexible, wonderful career that you can build around yourself. Or your family, or whoever you want to share it with. But just to sort of finish us off, because it's getting late, and I've got to walk that dog. Anne-Marie, what do you think about the skills, the additional skills that you might need as a bookkeeper? If anyone's sort of sitting there and thinking, "Oh, I don't know if I've got
yeah.
it in me," what do you need in order to make a success as a bookkeeper?
You, as a business person, you've got to have so many hats. I didn't realize when I was making my list of what to do, what the business will need, the name, the registration, the licenses, etc. One of the major things for me was the IT hat. Um, the website. I needed the website, but the jargon was a different language to me. Um, the networking stuff. What do I do? How do I go about doing it? All these skills, organization. You've got to be organizational skills. You've got to kind of be methodical, as creative as you like, but be methodical and efficient, but efficient so that it doesn't take up too much of your time. Um, I went to I googled, I talked to different people, and I found that my local university did courses and provided a mentor for me to be able to overcome some of the obstacles in my way, like for IT and for networking. And I also found local networking groups. I don't go to a lot because it does take up a lot of time and energy. It can take like a whole of your day. I mean, it's only about 2 or 3 hours, but getting there, coming back, and the exhaustion of having to talk and put a smile on your face. That's Yeah, so there's many hats that you have to wear and think about. But there's help out there, so Yeah.
That's it. I love that you went to the university. I mean, that's it. Leave no stone unturned. And quite often, people once they've set up their own business, they get their first client on the school run, or I keep talking about the school, the kids and the dogs. But if you've got kids and a dog, use them as a networking opportunity, and get into the situation like Anne-Marie did, where you are telling everybody you know that you're a bookkeeper, because they will support you and they are going to connect you with people who need bookkeepers. You are never more than a stone's throw away from somebody who needs an amazing bookkeeper. So let this please be your moment to make the decision that could change your life. You do not have to ask permission in order to do this. If you have a desire to become a bookkeeper, maybe it's to get a great career, get a promotion, or just spend more time with the loved people in your life and run your own business from home. This is your moment. You can do this. Everyone at ICB fully believes in you, and we are registering. I'd say we're probably helping about 250 people start their own bookkeeping business every year, the majority of whom have had no experience whatsoever in the business before. They haven't run their own businesses. They're not dyed-in-the-wool entrepreneurs. They are people from all walks of life, and loads of them are just like you, and we're in the exact same boat as you are, and you will get to meet them. We've got loads of free events from ICB. We do, for our members, we have a payroll update once a month. We have tax updates. We are here to keep you updated, because one of the cool things, but also the challenging things about bookkeeping, is that the government is always changing something. We get new budgets every year. The rates and the regulations are changing. And that's the kind of thing that makes your skills so in demand, because businesses need the help of great bookkeepers like Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, you've been absolutely fantastic. I hope that everyone's been listening hard to everything you've said. And well done on a year in practice. Do you have anything you want to say to somebody who sat there thinking, but I still think I can't do it?
You can do anything you put your mind to. If that is what you want to do, I say do something that you're passionate about. And if you think that you're going to be passionate about being a bookkeeper, being your own boss, working when you want or with who you want to be, go for it.
So there we go. You can't say better than that. We're going to follow up to everybody with an email with the recording of this session. Please do reach out to the amazing team at Ideal Schools. You'll be in very good hands with them. And I look forward to congratulating you when you pass your first exam. So good luck, everybody, and have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye.
Bye.